In the early part of Trump's electoral victory over Kamala Harris, Republicans started urging unity in our country. And by unity, they meant everyone agreeing with the Republican agenda. Ironically, not even congressional Republicans knew that the agenda would include cabinet nominations of ridiculously unqualified people that not even they can stomach. But nonetheless, unity is the watchword on the Hill. But unity for Republicans is always a one-way street, is always hypocritical, and is always just empty words. Yesterday's session in the Senate was a perfect example of how Republicans never mean what they say and only comply when they get their way. Worse, they cry and stamp their feet when they don't. In a shameful display of scorched earth tactics that they knew were in vain, Republicans tied up the Senate unnecessarily, knowing they didn't have the votes, but making everyone's lives miserable out of spite. I'm going to unpack what the Republicans did with the Biden judicial confirmation process. But first, a reminder. The 118th Congress is still in session and will be until January 23rd. The Senate is controlled by the Democratic Party, and they are busy confirming Biden appointments to federal agencies and to judgeships in federal courts. These Biden appointments are going to be a crucial part of the guardrails to protect the country from Trump, who has made clear that he is going to appoint as many toadies as possible so that his power can be unchecked. As it is, the only reason Trump is not in jail right now is because of Eileen Cannon, a Trump toady judge who oversaw the most open and shut criminal case in the history of this country. Trump stealing classified documents and taking them to Mar-a-Lago and storing them in a bathroom. Trump's defense, you may recall, was that he declassified the documents in his mind. That's a trial that would have taken a day and a half and would have caused a jury to deliberate for 27 minutes, 20 of which would have been consumed by sipping coffee and eating cinnamon rolls. The more judges Biden can appoint and the Senate can confirm, the fewer Eileen Cannons there will be in the federal court system. And likewise, the more appointees that Biden can get confirmed to federal agencies, the fewer the opportunities for Trump to install loyalists whose goal will be to dismantle the very agencies they serve. Now, Republicans, who are all about unity, remember, are trying to slow that process down. Last night, they made the process go until midnight with procedural votes that they knew were going to fail. They just wanted to gum up the works. Watch this report.
In the final weeks of his presidency, Senate Republicans came against President Joe Biden's judicial nominees on Monday night. This comes as Senate Democrats look to use their remaining days in the majority to confirm as many of Biden's lifetime appointees as possible. Republicans forced votes on motions that typically would be kind of an unanimous vote.
And Republicans are not even unified about what they're doing. Politico is reporting that some Republicans weren't pleased with the drawn-out process, which looks likely to continue throughout the week. It was very frustrating last night that we spent many hours on procedural votes when we could have been doing an appropriations package, said Senate Appropriations Vice Chair Senator Susan Collins of Maine. And Trump has weighed in on it too, posting on social media, "Republican senators need to show up and hold the line. No more judges confirmed before Inauguration Day." Leave it to Trump to not be able to count above 10. Ironically, one of the senators who did not show up was J.D. Vance, who defended his absence by saying, "I tend to think it's more important to get an FBI director who will dismantle the deep state than it is for Republicans to lose a vote 49-46 rather than 49-45. And apparently, Vance is the only Republican who can count votes. Senator Cornpone from Louisiana, John Kennedy, was lamenting Republican absences by saying, "We had some of these judges killed, dead as Woodrow Wilson, and our vote wasn't there." I got news for you, Foghorn Leghorn. The Democrats hold the majority, and even Joe Manchin has agreed that the job is to outvote you MAGA morons before you're able to burn this democracy to the ground. Senate Majority Leader Schumer is promising to hold the ground. The Senate is going to keep prioritizing judicial and administrative confirmations this week, this month, and for the rest of this year. And Schumer is not taking this lying down. According to Politico, as the votes wore on, patience grew short. Schumer vowed to enforce vote time limits, cutting them off after 12 minutes. It doesn't matter who's here, he said. It almost goes without saying that Trump did the exact same thing when he was the outgoing president. According to Politico, Trump actually got a block of his own judges through the Senate with Democratic cooperation, even after he lost the 2020 election to Biden. One of these days, Democrats are going to learn that it is far more important to fight for the middle and working class than it is to play nice with Republicans. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.